Hello everyone, and welcome to Wargame Red Dragon, and the first best of three in the second round of the Adopt a Noob tourney held on the Blitz-War channel, and I'm playing today as Eurocore with my ally and experienced player, Grape Jellyman, the Major General, who's playing as Dutch German. Now, our opponents are Cute Snack, who I believe is also known as Orange in the community, and his second, Louis, although I'm not entirely sure, I can't read the second name there, but now, my opener, I have a tiger, I have a bunch of things on wheels headed up to the left side of Bravo to attack into the right side of Golf, while my ally Grape Jelly is handling the Triangle Forest and the sort of more stereotypical left side of the field. Now, on my right hand side I have Legion 90 and Vabs, just meant to hold on that end with an AMX 1390 for recon, and this is a really intense game. I gotta say, I was playing scared pretty much the entire time, and you're about to see why, as you know, this looks a little bit surprising. There's not too much on the left, and that's because it's coming right down the pipe on the right-hand side. Kyotokus and a couple of other transports, and these guys, I mean, they're 15 points for the transports. Rangers are not the cheapest. We do get a couple of nice kills, but I'm about to lose my forward position here, and I had intended to go up and into the square forest on the left-hand side, well, I guess the right-hand side of Golf. And so I don't have nearly enough. We have, I mean, the ninja does get taken down by a Gepard A2, which is very nice, but then I lose it because Hudao Ren are very good. I mean, this is just, it's a lot of stuff. I think the K1 on the top actually was the one that shot him. I just didn't really have vision. And you can see I'm trying to pull back my 2A5. I'm smoking him up to try and protect them because I think there was Chuma probably right around here. Yeah, we can see that missile firing in, killing an AMX 13 BTT. And this looks pretty bad, right? So Bravo is actually capped by the Red 4 team. They're taking +2 right now, playing, I guess playing the objective, right? It is Conquest, Alpha, and Bravo capped, and really I have to say, you would think with something like that, where we only had one command vehicle each, and yes, this is going to be a problem later, you would expect the opener to feel a bit more empty than it did, but it really just, I mean, it felt very, very stressful playing against Louis here on the right-hand side of the map. My 2A5 does get a little bit smacked by a Chumot, but that's kind of ish, not the worst deal in the world, and I do retreat alright. We also are bringing in reinforcements with the sole goal of moving up and into Bravo and trying to get that. So my Vab is going around the right-hand side. I figured, you know, they, again, like I said, had a lot of CVs, they had a lot of stuff right down the pipe, so I was hoping I might be able to get around, but you can see there are some infantry in there, and they're going to be shooting in. That's not actually what kills them, though. It's kind of interesting. So I see that the Rangers missed twice, because, I mean, better lucky than good sometimes. 3 times, actually, have missed, and we're pulling back. And meantime, I mean, the 1390, I think if I had had more stuff here to support it, it would have been really nice, but as it is, it's just a little bit on its own. And now Orange, on the other hand, has gone for triple Kiyomaru Shiki. We saw them disappear into the smoke on the left-hand side of the board. And I mean, we have a decent hold in Foxtrot. I mean, it's 3 Kiyomaru Shikis. They're just, it's mean, right? It's pretty hard to counter that without just getting more super heavies. And, well, 2 versus 3, right? So Red 4 team definitely has an advantage. They're crossing into the woods near Charlie. And I was just thinking to myself, you know, if I lose this section of woods, that's awful. That's pretty much game losses right there, because if they can countercap in Charlie, that's another +2. If they also, you know, it means we're not going to be able to really get Golf. And you can see I was happy. My reservists are fighting okay with Yevagon, which, I mean, it's militia versus militia. It's going to be a wet noodle contest, but we did also, I mean, we did also get this response going quickly enough. I felt alright. So Hudao Ren, of course, are 20 points. They're very, very nice. I think the 62 Cheeky is not a mini-me clone, I'm not really sure. I don't think so. And they will kind of struggle against Panzergren 90 in the woods. But you can see my Marder 2 is going around. I'm trying to get line of sight just here so I can shoot in on anything that might be supporting in those woods. As the Panzergren, it's not really good to have those shocks too far forward, but I needed to make sure that they didn't get too far into these woods. So that's all I'm doing. And we're going to pull them back. We're going to, you know, play a bit smarter, hopefully. Now, that alarm was because there was an OH-1 Ninja. It does spot both our fobs. They're already being fired at, which is a little bit annoying. And he also spotted my Panther because I had been so stressed out by the opener I hadn't moved him. And that was pinged by the Red 4 team. They did see it, and they could very well have fired in. So I'm going to have to move that command infantry. You can see I'm doing that right now. Just sliding a bit to the right. Maybe a bit predictable of a move, but in the meantime, we've actually been trading okay here. So you can see Habyung 90 being just moved right into the woods, and they're going to get caught. Their vehicles are going to get killed, and these guys are 30 points apiece. And when they're being taken apart by 13 VTTs at range, that's a really, really bad thing for Blue Dragons. I mean, I said they're red for, they're just the opposition. They're actually, this is a blue-on-blue fight in the tourney. So Hudao Ren, meanwhile, also getting shot by the 13 BTTs, and it's just Brownings. And the Hudao Ren will counter that alright with their M67RR 1400 meter range secondaries, but we're still getting stuns, we're still getting a fair number of kills, and frankly, one of these is worth 4 13 BTTs. So I was fine just letting them sit there and shoot, especially just because we have so many guns here that you can see the Hudao Ren are just getting stunned. They're not even able to really bring their guns online all that effectively. So I am also moving up some mortars, and we did get some mortar support from Grape Jellyman, who is quite a fan of mortar fire. I think that is a fair thing to say. And that was really instrumental too, because it's stunning things, it's panicking things. I did lose both the Martyr 2s, the Habyung 90, just because those Panzerfaust 3s that they carry are really deadly on the first shot. Now, 10 RPM instead of 20, but 70% accuracy is crazy. So at this point, I decided to do something a little bit risky. I have reservists just going up, my Panzergren 90, trying to move back out of the way of those Kyorukus. I wanted to just get some cheap stuff forward, and then potentially get nice shots into the Legion 90 with their mini-me's. And then potentially with Eric's as well. I was hoping he'd move just a little bit closer, but we're not really going to get it. And the Panzergren on the left-hand side that are down to 8 strength are going to be pulled back. So I was sitting there going, okay, this is just not great. This is really not what I want to be doing. I don't want to be throwing away 25-point shock infantry. And in the meantime, on the left-hand side, this was pretty stalemated for a while. So there was some fighting over on the far left end of it. There's also just M41A1 spam from Cute Snack, which it's understandable. They're really good vehicles. And my reservists just get mulched by Kyorukus, and this is something, it's what the Kyorukus are very good at doing. Of course, they're 15 points apiece, but the grenade launchers are very brutal, and we did also now have more KFE-25s from Louis, and those are 15-point autocannons, pretty good autocannons too, so that was a little bit scary. So my mortars are firing in, my Tiger is out of Hot 2s, we did get some support from him pretty far back, so this was a nice suggestion by Grape Jellyman before the game started. Put it right here, let it spot things, let it sort of be a defensive unit for us instead of moving up and in the Blue 4 anti-air, which with short arrows, which are the usual anti-helicopter pick, can be a little bit scary, a little bit deadly. So Peace Pheasant 2 coming in, and we're going to be engaging it with Block 15 just for a minute, because we do have those AMRAMs on the Block 15, but he does get taken out, I think, either by the Gepard or the Krotzal. I mean, just shooting at it, the Hakios is out of ammunition. I mean, I don't love these guys. 50% base accuracy is just too low, but the reason it's there is because Blue Dragons get a wonderful, wonderful seed plane, and 2 Blue Dragons players means 2 of those up-vetted potentially on the board, and the non-radar aspect of that was very, very powerful as a counter to factions that are really good with seed planes tend to rely on them and expect that they'll work. But if you can kind of counterplay that, that's pretty nice. So I do lose my Panther. We did get a couple of Hudao Ren with it earlier on, but it would have been nice to keep him alive to do that again, and I just got a little bit sloppy play. So you can see the short arrow, yeah, just blipping through on the right-hand side. Yeah, did very well. So in the meantime, Vab's getting those long-range autocannons online, and yeah, if we lose one, that's not great. There's a K1 here. But now moving up again, because I have replaced my front line with VTTs, with some Legion 90s and Panzergren 90, a bit higher quality this time. And still, I'm not even sure that I would say that this was the most well-advised push, because the Vabs are getting a little closer than they should. 2A5, his main goal at this point was to kill that K1, which we can do, but I got a little bit distracted, so an attack move, not really the best choice. Yeah, we killed So Chung-Soo, but the goal there was the K1, so we're going to be right-clicking here in just a minute, moving him up, trying to get shots on. That's 1, and that reload is pretty slow, but you can see my smoke micro here was not good. So there's a Peace Pheasant 2 coming in right off the top, and that's going to be 1-2 shots, dead tank. I exposed my side armor a little bit, I think, otherwise we might have been able to survive it. But at least we'll get a little bit of revenge on the Peace Pheasant 2. Down he goes. So yeah, my smoke micro was a little bit late, and that definitely did cost me a really expensive, really high performance tank. So it's 170 points. He did, I think, just barely pay for himself, but that's not the performance you want out of a super heavy. You want him to anchor your side the whole time. You want him to be getting 300, 400 points worth of kills on anything smaller than him, on infantry fighting vehicles, stuff like that. So here I'm making another bit of a mistake. My Lichta MG3 is shooting, it should not be, and that should be turned off in just a second. There it is, and the Panzerfaust 3s will chew through KFE-25s very, very quickly. So one shot goes in on the Q Marshikis, that was a hit, 4 points of damage off of Grape Jellyman's OCU, and you can see he's not just sitting idly by, he is going to be going up and around the side. So some Fuchs Milans, PWIs, 13 FL12, Core Mariners are just wonderful in this matchup, as I was informed by Grape Jelly at the time, just carry their weight and then some. And it is worth pointing out as well, we were drawing in both players into the forest in Bravo. So yes, both my attempts to push in here have failed, but both of them have been relatively at cost. We've been trading kind of okay. And even the Panzergrenadier 90 killed 3 KFA-25s, 15 points each, before damaging and killing a couple of units of infantry along with it. So we're not giving anything up for free. Also, mortars pounding in, which should help in the later on fights. It's health damage, but it's also just the panic, shaken, everything like that that's making them take forever to even damage my reservists, let alone get a kill. And all of that time is more time for my mortars, a little bit too far back, unfortunately, but more time for the mortars to hopefully land a couple of nice hits. So we have some 1390s, and I was deciding just to take a bit of a different approach. These guys are 25-point vehicles. They fire at 13 rounds a minute, which is very nice, and they even outrange Hoot Outren. So, just attack moving up here, getting shots into the Hoot Outren, and this is catastrophic. You cannot maintain that for very long and hope to have a good engagement, because, that double squad was 40 points. My 1390s are 50 points. These guys are still fresh. They've nearly made up their value, and they're going to be coming up and around and trying to get those guns online on more and more and more units. So, I do have to say, I was very grateful that I got matched up with Louis instead of Cute Snake. It was a tough game, and Louis is a ferocious opponent, don't get me wrong. But there's something a little bit scary going in this tournament and knowing that there's a chance that you can deploy on the side of the opposing team's really just veteran player. And that was fortunately a bit of a dodge bullet here. I think that the last time we had a big knockdown drag-out fight on this map, actually the last tourney game, I think, I did go up against the more experienced player, and if not for my ally, that would have ended very poorly. So, Kyurokus, for those of you who don't know, do have 2 frontal armor. That's why they're eating as many shots as they are. And 2 frontal armor on wheels with a grenade launcher? Yeah, I'll take that for 15 points. Sure, that sounds pretty nice. So, the 1390s have gotten a bit far forward, maybe even a bit too far forward in hindsight, but I wanted to kill those Kyurokus. I wanted to get shots online against the Sochung-Su that are doing very well, and now I just need an answer for the K1. So you can see Leopard 2 command tank going in on Golf. We are trying to decap. We did also spot the Jiwicha, but here comes an F-15J. Not really sure what he's going for. He might just be warding off anti-GM planes and maybe trying to draw out some fire, and yeah, I guess it works. Sending out something like that, something like a seed plane as well, and then an ATGM plane is how you get air dominance. So Block 15 is the answer from our side, trying to get some shots on the 15J as well as a couple of nice shots, and hopefully against the Kiyomaros, but no such luck there. And I'm going in for a 3rd time, so, definition of insanity if at first you don't succeed and all that, but the Legion 90 pop one of those K1s, and the other one has to retreat, I believe, at 1 strength. Yep, it does take a shot from Legion 90 down to 1 strength, and we'll be moving back. Now, this was actually, I think, a bit of a visual glitch. So this still shows it's a group of 2, but it wasn't. We already killed one. And you can see it's just 1 tank there. It's a single K1. So I don't know if I just didn't have good enough recon or what was going on. But, yeah, there it's fixed. Yeah, it might have just been a bug, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not surprised by such things on this. And, Heavy Young 90 are pushing up, but the 1390s are doing wonderful work here. Legion 90 also, a lot of 90s, everything. Moving up as well to make sure that Habyong engage the Legion before they engage the 1390s, so that I can get the guns online without, taking return fire from 24 AP launchers. So, this was a little bit rough. My Panzergrenadier 90 trying to go up and in, but, I don't know, the surviving K1 was still there. That's still a main tank gun. But if we get a little bit closer, that's going to be, hopefully, a kill. Did we miss both? Huh. I could have sworn that the K1 was killed by Panzergrenadier, but it might have been the other unit on the left-hand side as those guys were just moving over to the right. So, this so far is okay, just taking a look farther back up out of this grindy game here. My ally did get around to their spawn, and my Krotal is supporting, so we can see he's trying to just attack Hotel if he can. It is a 2-point zone, it's very, very valuable, and that means that the other opposing team has to do something to protect it. So, H1J shooting in, my Krotal is moving up, trying to get a couple of shots in here, but it is going to be a little bit tough, and we'll just have to see what we can do about that as Legion 90. I probably should pull these guys back at this point. One of the things that I've been told repeatedly, and definitely makes a lot of sense, is that the difference between, well, not the difference, but a difference between good players and mediocre players is whether or not they can keep their front line alive. And you can see, I was trying to, I think I forgot about these guys. It's not an intuition that I have right now, and it very much is one that I need to go after if this is going to be sort of a story of improving gameplay over time. But the Cortel on this side did take down the Ninja, and then meanwhile the 1390s are just demolishing fire support. This is what I'd kind of wanted with the Babs at the start. We just got taken out by K1. And now we might be able to do a bit more now that we have tank guns, and these are heat, right? So even if something with decent armor comes down, we'll be ripping shots into them, getting a little bit of chip damage in, hopefully before they die. So K263 does unfortunately make his ugly mug known, and my ally lost something there, but in return we see triple Hawk Pip 2. They're spread out a little bit weird. This was probably grouped up when they were a bit farther apart than not moved, but that is going to be drawing immediate mortar fire. Now, he probably won't do much, but it is a micro stress, and with only 1 front armor, 0 top armor, we could score lucky hits. It's just maybe a bit of a stretch. In the meantime, my Panzergren were able to stay alive by drawing back and retreating through reservists, and we are getting some nice firing arcs here, so taking down an opponent's IFV before he can get into the woods, that usually should, and I think in that time did, damage the infantry inside as well. So all of that was good, but the H1J on low hover, this is something I'm going to have to remember, because that guy did very well. I couldn't really target him with anti-air either. In hindsight, I might have gotten some utility out of mortaring him, but I was just trying to kill the Sochung Su and all of that, and it was a bit rough. So we have the Crotal forward, we have triple 2A1 now. I've been building these guys up over time and was a little bit too conservative with them. I think at this point I was just scared of the Kiyomarus, and honestly with good reason. So 3 Kiyomarus versus 3 2A1s, the Kiyomarus are going to be the winners there. So Corps Mariners moving forward, unfortunately engaging with Habyung when an H1J comes up, and that minigun is very, very nice. Very, very nice indeed. So you can also notice one criticism of my play as well is I didn't really have any recon up here. If I had pushed recon with this, we would have already been spotting things, we already would have been taking some shots in, and as it is, I mean, we damaged a Kiyomaru, but now they're shooting in again, and this is something I was actually really glad I had these guys put in group of 3. When you have units grouped, the shots spread between them, and you can see 2 of my 2A1s are surviving on a single point of strength. It's just 1 point of strength. It really was absolutely terrifying to be a part of. So Corps Mariners on this side, and my ally is doing some funny shenanigans over near their spawn, pinging me about it as well, talking to me about it as well, and that's going to be an opportunity. So these Kiyomarus, by the way, out of fuel. They were stuck there, but there is going to be some smoke micro from Orange, Cute Snack, to try to keep them alive. So my ally's gotten the Panzerkampfwagen Leopard 2 up. We do spot some Jiwi Cha, and that's going to be 1 kill off the Legion 90. Very much a worthwhile trade here. I mean, one, we see a lot of stuff, so we got some good intel, some good recon there for just a second, and we also decapped this zone. And now you can see the continual +1/+2 for the other team that had gotten them up to 353 points is gone. With 22 minutes, we do have to get a bit of a move on, but even if we can get a +1, for the amount of time we have left, that would be a narrow almost tie, I want to say. Yeah, 22 minutes left, so that would have gotten us to, what, 330? That's within 10%. So, I mean, we don't have a +1, so that is kind of an issue. But we do have a Command Leopard 2 on this side from Grape Jellyman. He's trying to get it in to secure this side once more, and if we can get any sort of decap engulf or pressure into Alpha, that would be a way to get back into this game really quickly instead of after it's taken a while. But this is why this was pretty scary. So 353 points is no joke. Our opponents got most of the way toward winning outright, and yeah, it was very, very scary. And we were just sitting there going, okay, if we don't do something now, we're going to have serious trouble. So Habyung 90 get caught out in the open. This is not anything that you ever want to have happen. I mean, just taking fire from an MG3 on top of a vehicle. Yeah, it's rough. I mean, there was a lot going on in this game. It's kind of understandable. My ally's murdered too, actually, I believe, scoops in and steals that kill from my lowly 5-point box. Yeah. Oh well. I was trying to get a cheeky kill on a K1 that was around here, but instead I just ended up throwing away a Peace Rhine. And one thing I hope you guys do see, I'm trying to use a lot fewer planes, a lot fewer helicopters, just only using them when they're necessary. And I gotta say, it's made some of the games just go a lot more smoothly. You have more stuff on the front line, you're not throwing away points for bombers and planes that just don't really get their value back. It can definitely do a lot of good things. Speaking of good things, this is not one of them. So my Panzergren 90 are getting just wrecked. it's a very shallow section of woods, and he had recon infantry, JSDF rangers right there that are making this a really bad engagement. My K1s are getting shot, but we're about to hot drop some Legion in, just right out of the Vabs, right onto the field, killing that K1, saving some of my infantry on the left-hand side while they do it, and allowing the other Vabs to carry more Legion 90 up and into this town. And this has to be stressful for the currently red 4, blue 4 team that was our opponents, because I mean, this is a known position. It's going to draw artillery fire, it's going to draw bombers, and things in there will die, usually. But, I don't know, it's also kind of hard to shake. Legion 90 are a very deadly unit to have in there because of those Airix missiles that can do very, very well. Peace Pheasant 2 coming in again, I got a little bit upset about that, just because one of them had the crit where it couldn't move. So that entire unit was a little bit screwy, but we do actually kill the Peace Pheasant. It's only a 10-point down on value sort of situation, and frankly I have more Leopard 2A1s than he has Peace Pheasants, so all in all, not the worst. It would have just been a little bit better if we could have not lost that, because, I mean, that's sort of a truism, really. So, 2A1s engaging, K200s, So Chung Su. I'm really just kind of happy with this because it's slowing down the other team. And it's getting a little bit of point value as well, so not really the best sort of targets for 2A1s, but yeah, it gets the job done. My Vabs, meanwhile, did get around and through, and we're trying to get a sneaky command vehicle kill, but I'm not quite able to do it, and that Vab is going to be taken out by my opponent's units there, so I mean, just very nice. 1390s on this side, by the way. I was expecting to still have recon infantry in that town on the right. That's what the ping is for, because Grape Jelly was telling me, hey, move these guys up, and I really didn't want to get them killed by infantry, and in hindsight, I probably should have. It's almost like you should listen to the experienced player and adopt a noob tourney when you're the noob. But another Peace Pheasant 2 coming in, he will snipe a couple of cheap transports, but actually had a bit of a surprise from the Crotal. So you can see one shot there, second shot going in, we do land it. And that's a 90-point kill, yet again. The only issue is double Blue Dragons players. You should expect to see 2 down-vetted cards, which means two down-vetted per card, 4 cards, 2 per player. That's going to be 8 individual Peace Pheasant 2s that they have the possibility of calling out, which is just, it's a lot of anti-tank, it really is, and pretty cost-effective anti-tank at that. So we have secured Golf now, we have also killed their command vehicle in Golf, I believe it was right here, just got artied to hell and back. And that is going to put us at a +2. So if we can decap Alpha, if we can countercap Alpha, and that's exactly what we're working on, so Panzerkampfwagen Leopard 2 from my ally here, and just hoping to get not spotted before that Peace Pheasant 2 comes in. And for right now, we're okay, but it's going to be a little bit challenging. My Crotal's out of missiles. We did lose one of the fobs here, very nearly the second. Very lucky for us, frankly, that we kept that fob. We have used most of it. Yeah, and I don't know. This is sort of the moment, so you can see that Louis just has a ton of stuff. He is counterattacking in. KFE 25s are going to be pretty good, pretty effective against my infantry, especially when mismicroed. My Panzergren, too far to the forest edge, and using their Licta MG3s against So Chung Su, will get targeted in retaliation by KFE 25s, which, yeah, it's not the sort of long-range fire that you want to be taking. So, I do lose the 1390s on that side, that Peace Pheasant 2 getting some shots in. We're chasing with the Tiger, but one hit is not going to be enough there. It's only 5 HE, which means that even with a crit, we won't be able to kill. So, resupplying the Crotal, we are going to be moving him up and around, trying to heal up those 2A1s and get a Leclerc moving forward, just to sit sort of back here and shoot in if I can. But frankly, I'm not really sure that this was the best buy at the time. I might have been just better able to benefit by, I don't know, something like an additional Crotal, and then maybe double Legion 90 and fast transports that can get there really quickly to respond. And yeah, I mean, I have a lot of Legion 90, but that's because they're doing good work here. So Machinano Shiki is just spotted by the Legion 90, taken out by the Leclerc, and this is probably a bit of a bad idea as well. So we're just so clumped up trying to hold that bridgehead into Alpha, and it also means that if we get shot, bombed, mortared, artilleried, any number of possible options, it's going to be a hard thing to recover from. But with 15 minutes, 16 minutes left possible in the game, and my Leclerc, by the way, the first 2 did miss, I believe, but the second 2 hit. It's unfortunate, though, for my opponents, as the Peace Pheasant 2 does need to score 3 hits in order to kill Leclerc, and they only got 2. We also do take that guy down, yet again with the Crotal. So I think this guy actually killed 4 Peace Pheasant 2s. That was a little bit goofy as well, because the crash nearly killed my ally's Hawkios, so it dealt 7 points of damage as that plane hit the ground and then just drilled forward right into everything that we had on the board. for anti-air in that region. I mean, well, dedicated anti-plane anti-air anyway. My Crotal is basically out of missiles. This is the only piece on this side, and to have lost it to a crashed plane would have been ironic, bordering on just hilarious. So, yeah, it was a good time. So we're at +3 right now. That means every minute we're getting 45 points, and that has to be something that the enemy team wants to stop just yesterday kind of thing, because we'll also make up the gap very quickly. We're at 229. We're only about 5 minutes away from where we were getting nothing, and the difference is Bravo's capped, Golf is capped, Alpha is counter-capped. We might have some trouble keeping it. You can see the opposing team does spot the weakness that we don't have much anti-air, and so they're calling out AH-1Js. 55 points for these guys. I tend to prefer the 1T, I believe, that has ATGMs, only because, I mean, they're getting some good kills. Most of it is going to be on Natra, most of it's going to be on the 5-point vehicles. The Core Mariners do take another volley there, but even then they're just down to 20 men out of 30 because they are higher strength. Okay, yeah, no, that was worthwhile. Well, but actually was it though, right? So these guys are 55 points each. The Core Mariners, I believe, are 35. So that one got most of the way to recovering his value, but in the meantime, this guy is not going to. We do get some kills on, I think one of them was taken out with the Legion 90 just a second before this or two, and we're also still able to fend off those Habyong 90 with 281s in the back. Now, this does draw another Peace Pheasant, but frankly, this has the look now of games where your opponent relies a bit too heavily on air to respond to a bad situation on the ground, and it doesn't end up working. So Peace Pheasant does miss, Hawkios lands a shot, and the Crotal finishes him off. And, I mean, our Legion 90 are just getting a kill on an H1J, because who doesn't need 55 point... Oh, apparently I don't need it. Yeah, I thought I got him there. Turns out maybe not. Now, we do have resupply up and forward. Crotal will be shooting in there, and we're trying to handle some Habyong 90 that were dropped in by Louis. On the left-hand side, my Legion are going there, but, I mean, you're going to look at this and you're going to think to yourself, 21 Habyong, 3 Legion 90. There's no way the Legion 90 survive, right? But the Habyong are in the open, the Legion 90 are in the woods. That means my Legion get damage mitigation that the Habyong 90 don't. They've also been hammering in for quite a while now, nearly outright killed a unit, and we do have support from my allies' H-64 escorts, as well as some mortars for our own team. So these guys are actually down to 11 strength, Legion 90 at 2, and here is where the fight will become a bit more, well, quote-unquote even, except that we also now have long-range fire support. So this 2A5, one thing you'll generally observe when I'm playing these tournament games with Grave Jellyman is that his armor tends to be better positioned than mine, and he gets a lot of good value out of it for that. So that's something that I hope to learn as this goes forward and just get a little bit better at that sort of positioning. Because that 2A5 saved my Legion 90, it saved this side of the board. We didn't really have anything left over here. All of it was pushed up to try and get into Alpha as much as possible, and that was a vulnerability, one that's good players will take advantage of. So KFE-25s, they are shooting in just a bit, but I'm a long team from Grave Jellyman, as I have lost my Legion. He's over there fighting in Alpha, and I mean, he's fighting everywhere, to be frank. We had Golf for a while, we had the extension toward Hotel and Delta, and then now on my side, and this I think was just a response to how those other decisions were going. So he has Golf, anything that comes down here will get shot and die. We have a Milan team, we have a 2A5, we have some KCT, some Natra, really just a robust light hold. And then he's just been sort of moving around the field trying to help where possible, and that double up on Alpha is going to be just enough here. That was the game itself. Kills and losses, 61-30 kills, 38-25 losses. Decent gap there, and I was pretty happy with KD, 35-80 to 21-85, given that it was a tournament game. So some highlight units are going to be, sadly, not the 2A5, but things more like the Martyr. Well, not that one. No, we got just a lot of good value from things. VTT's killing Hudao Ren, that's a 5-point vehicle, killing a 20-point infantry. This one killing the Habyong 90, killing a 30-point infantry with a 5-point transport. I really gotta hand it to the VTTs just for being able to stick around and get even small guns online for a very, very long time. Also the 1390s that were able to help stabilize the position on the right-hand side of those woods were invaluable, and we did manage to kill Bonbu and a Jiwicha with 2 units here. But the real star of the show is going to be the Crotal manned by Remy that was over on my right flank. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 F4E Peace Pheasant 2s, 1, 2, 3 AH-1Js. Couldn't ask for better. That's going to be 360 from the Peace Pheasants, and then, well, that's another 165 from the H1Js. really, I mean, this Crotal did a fair amount of my kill death margin just on its own. Alright, well, that's going to be all we've got for you guys today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.